Now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Introducing Slate, the cure for overpriced, overcomplicated cars. It's a truck, it's an SUV, it's whatever you need it to be. Reserve yours at slate.auto.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Oh, it is Denver Sports Tonight right here on the ever-powerful 104.3 The Fan. Hope everyone is doing well out there. I am your host tonight, flying solo. We got Dante Gomez behind the glass as well. I'm Manilo Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Also, make sure to check us out at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and DenverSports.com. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Hopefully you're staying dry. Hopefully you're getting home safe on a rainy day here in the Mile High City. We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Of course, the RamosLaw.com text line, if you want to get your thoughts out there, 303-713-1043. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts on the world of Denver sports. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to unpack here tonight. The Denver Broncos, Denver's favorite sports team, the crown jewel of Denver sports. After an offseason in which many labeled it as a 10 out of 10 offseason, an A offseason, great free agent signings, Bo Nix getting ready to take a leap in year two as opposed to a sophomore slump. People talking about how this defense could potentially be one of, if not the best unit in the NFL. Find themselves with a record of 1-2. After a disappointing loss against the Los Angeles Chargers. And ladies and gentlemen, this is now the second week in a row, albeit it's early in the season, but the second consecutive game that the Denver Broncos have been unable to close out an opponent in a game in which they should have and could have won. For the second week in a row, the Denver Broncos blow a fourth quarter lead. That's not exactly championship medal, if you ask me. For the second week in a row, the Denver Broncos lose a game in walk-off fashion. For the second week in a row, a lack of discipline and boneheaded penalties late in the game cost the Denver Broncos at a chance at victory. And for the second week in a row, the Denver Broncos lose in heartbreaking fashion. They are 1-2 on the year. You could make the case they should be 3-0. Two terrible losses now against the Chargers, and let's not forget about that disgusting ending against the Indianapolis Colts. Different reasons as to why they lost these games, but the theme is paramount through those two games. And let's be honest here as well. They beat the Tennessee Titans, but it wasn't exactly sweat-free. I mean, we're a bad play call, from on 4th and 8 from Sean Payton and Bo Nix and Tennessee, having some semblance of competency on offense for making that a ball game. So you can go either way here. I'm not saying the Broncos could be or should be 0-3, but that wasn't necessarily an inspiring win against Tennessee. First half against Indianapolis, okay, looked pretty good. Second half, not so good. Get off to an ugly start there in the first quarter against the Chargers. But then you score 17 unanswered points. How do you lose that game? That's where we're at right now. The Denver Broncos falling short of the expectations that head coach Sean Payton has set for himself 3 games into a season in which was arguably the most optimistic season heading into it since Peyton Manning. That's where we're at right now with the Denver Broncos. So let me know your thoughts, 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here tonight, folks. We'll get into Bo Nix. We'll get into, is it more of a Bo Nix thing? Is it more of a Sean Payton thing? Is it more of a Vance Joseph thing? All of these things can be true at the same time and whatnot, but here's the reality of the situation. And it's a disappointing start to the season. Sean Payton now, after the last 2 heartbreaking losses to the Colts and the Chargers respectively, not up, not down, kind of like my bets this weekend. 19-19 is his record as Broncos head coach, not including the preseason, but including the playoff loss last year against the Buffalo Bills. All right, so you don't want to count the Russell Wilson year. You don't want to hold the Russell Wilson year against Sean. Okay, if you want to go down that road, be my guest. I'm not in that school of thought. Last year, fun year, 10-7, right? This year, all the optimism, all the excitement, all the expectation, and they fall short out of the gate in their first 3 games with a record of 1-2. So Sean Payton, the guy that the Denver Broncos, he was high up on their list. We'll talk about Jim Harbaugh. We'll talk about some of the other candidates, D'Amico Ryan among others. Through 2.25-ish seasons is exactly 500. 19 up, 19 down. Let me know your thoughts on Sean Payton. For the Chargers now, though, right? Because there was a lot of people, this station included, within the media, radio hosts, fans alike, that were talking about 13 wins with this Broncos team. They can go out there and win 13 games. Chiefs who? Chiefs are falling off, is the narrative that I was told throughout the course of the offseason. Now, it looks to be the case very much so far this season. But put a little respect on the Los Angeles Chargers, because you're seeing Jim Harbaugh, who's a quality head coach, more than a quality head coach. And you've got Justin Herbert, who I personally believe is a top 5 quarterback in this league. That guy can sling it, and they're cutting him loose this year, and that's going to be dangerous for the Los Angeles Chargers. They find themselves now 3 up, no down, 3 division wins, and in complete control of the AFC West. The Denver Broncos now don't have another divisional game against the AFC West until Week 10 against the Las Vegas Raiders. So they've got some work to do, the Denver Broncos. I think we all expect, I looked at the line this morning, Denver minus 7.5, so the odds makers in Vegas are telling you they expect the Broncos to go out there on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals and take care of business. I expect that as well. I expect them to bounce back after 2 bad losses. But there's a bigger question at hand is, what is the outlook for this Denver Broncos team? I asked Cecil and Dover yesterday. I run our social media here at DenverSports 104 The Fan. Go check out that video on Instagram. It's going up on Twitter, or it's going up on YouTube and TikTok later this evening as well. And they're kind of on different ends of the spectrum here, right? Cecil, upset about the loss. Dover still a bit optimistic about what this season can be, but Cecil kind of hammering home the fact that the Broncos are now behind. They got to play catch-up. That's exactly where they're at. Another wrinkle that I want to throw in here when it comes to Sean Payton, the Broncos, everyone looks at the Chiefs. You're looking up at the Chiefs coming into this season. Obviously, you're not looking up at them right now. The Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Denver Broncos, of course, all sitting at 1-2 with the Chargers in firm command of the division at 3-0. But this is something you got to monitor now for Sean Payton and the Broncos moving forward. Sean Payton has a lifetime record of 1-6, straight up head-to-head against Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, that includes the 2 terrible losses last year. I think the Thursday night loss hurts more than the first loss of the year. But that was a bad one at home. And then, Thursday Night Football, a game in which Sean Payton wanted the Broncos to be flexed into. And you lose that game as well. An opportunity for revenge in this game. Close but no cigar. 17 unanswered points, you lose the game. You can't do that. You can't do that. So now I'm sitting back here and I'm saying, okay, Jim Harbaugh has Sean Payton's number. How's that bode well? Because the division's still stacked. You still got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They're not exactly who's the worst team in the league right now. Historically, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New Orleans Saints, among some others as well. You can't just write off the Kansas City Chiefs here. The Raiders, despite their 1-2 record, are much more competitive, you would think, in theory, even though the first few games have been a bit rough, than in years past. So here we are with all this optimism and all this excitement and all this positivity with this Denver Broncos team, just for them to fall short in their first 3 games of the season. And I think the reason why I lump it into the first 3 games of the season, I don't know about you, let me know on the Ramos.com text line, RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. Did you come away from the win against the Titans inspired? Did you come away from the game against Tennessee saying, oh yeah, this is the team I expected to see week 1. This is the Bo Nix I expected to see. You probably feel pretty good about the defense, but maybe not as good right now after the last couple of games from the defense. A couple of players in particular, right? Alex Singleton has been, the talk of the town on social media. Riley Moss has been catching some flack on social media. Patrick Surtain, after the injury, did not look the same in that game against Indianapolis as well. So I'm going big picture here because I think the first 3 games for this Denver Broncos team paints a picture of what they are and what they might be moving forward. And we'll get into my overall outlook, and if you've listened to me before, you know what my record prediction was. It was a good one, but it wasn't as crazy as some of these 13, 14 wins that I saw going across social media. So there we are with Sean Payton. There we are with the Denver Broncos in the big picture. But I think the question and the debate on everybody's mind right now is that involving number 10, Mr. Bo Nix. Not exactly lighting the world on fire through the first 3 games. And, I've seen the narrative going around, the nickname rather going around on social media instead of Bo Nix, it's Boverthrow Nix. Because, there's 3 absolute wide open passes that if Bo Nix is able to complete in that game against Los Angeles Chargers, odds are they win that game. 2 of those passes could have gone for a touchdown. 0 for 3. Right? You saw that big play with Marvin Mims in the game against Indianapolis, but point being, very inconsistent on those jackpot balls from Bo Nix so far this season. That's a problem. Missed Sutton twice in that game against the Chargers, Marvin Mims against the Chargers, and Marvin Mims against the Titans on that 4th and 8 play, which I still can't get over, by the way. Still don't understand why the Broncos ran that play on 4th and 8, but it is what it is. So now here we are, and there's some in Broncos country, and let me know your thoughts, RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. Some people, a small sect, hopping off the Bo Nix train. Oh, maybe he ain't it, this, that, the other. I was talking with a buddy of mine last night, and he made the comparison that look at what happened to C.J. Stroud after his rookie year. Maybe that's the same path that Bo Nix is on. The rest is still unwritten with a guy like Jaden Daniels. What is Jaden Daniels going to be after his season last year? Right? And those 3 overthrows are just something that is burnt in the mind of Broncos country right now. And rightfully so, because frankly, look, there's 2 separate thoughts here. There's the fact of being up 17-0 and blowing that lead, but then there's also the lackadaisical offense and the uninspiring offense that we saw across the board throughout the course of the game. Sure, there were some moments, but when it comes to putting a complete game together on offense, we just haven't seen that yet. And Sean Payton is profiled as this offensive guru. Sean Payton loves him some Bo Nix, right? He was scared to death that the Vikings or whatever he threw the smoke screen out there for the Vikings so they wouldn't draft Bo Nix. I forget the exact dynamic, but point being, Sean Payton has all of his eggs in the Bo Nix basket. So we'll see how this plays out now moving forward. I've got some thoughts on Bo Nix, got some statistics that I want to throw out there as well for you, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, we haven't had a good Bo Nix game yet. Against the Chargers, 14 for 25, 153 passing yards, a touchdown, and a quarterback rating of 38.6. Not exactly what you'd hope for from Bo Nix entering into this season. Right, there were some positives, though. You love J.K. Dobbins, the 11 carries for the 83 yards, the touchdown, along of 41. That toe tap was absolutely electric. You like that. You like Cortland Sutton getting involved in this game after being a ghost in that game against Indianapolis. 6 receptions for 118 yards, a touchdown, along of 52. You like that. But everything else, when you look at the statistics from the rushing and the passing game, it's a bit gross, folks. It's a bit gross. Bo Nix, the 2nd leading rusher for the Denver Broncos in that loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. 8 carries for 33 yards. Not exactly inspiring. Why don't we take a look at the wide receiver room? Any guesses as to who was the 2nd leading receiver for the Denver Broncos in the game against the Chargers? Could it be Troy Franklin? Could it be Marvin Mims? Could it be Pat Bryant? No, it's R.J. Harvey, the rookie running back, 3 receptions for 14 yards. Followed by Lucas Kroll, 1 reception for 9 yards. So the Broncos offense right now is akin to that of putting the plane together while it's on the runway. It's not this perfect unit. And perfect is a strong word. But it's not this rock-solid unit that was expected to take a step like many people expected them to out of the gate this season. And I think that's concerning, folks. I do think it's concerning. And look, here's the optimistic point of view as well. You look at it as, hey, the Colts so far have been a lot better than advertised. I mean, Daniel Jones looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. You would have told me that 6 months ago. I'd said you're crazy. But that is the reality of the situation now. So that's something to factor in. The Chargers, I think, are a really good organization. Or I shouldn't say organization, but like right now they are. They're a really good team. Jim Harbaugh's a really good coach. Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback. Like I said, top 5. Now, I'm not putting him against Mahomes. I'm not putting him above Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, or Allen, Burrow, and Jackson. But I think he slots in at 5, maybe 6. I'm a big Stafford guy as well. Jalen Hurts, you got to show some respect where respect is due there. But point being, like, Justin Herbert can sling that thing, man. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. 28 for 47, 300 passing yards, a touchdown and an interception. And I think another big picture with the Los Angeles Chargers stemming from this game. What's the old narrative with the Chargers? Oh, Chargers going to Charger. Chargers going to Charger. They're going to figure out a way to fumble the game. They're going to figure out a way to mess it up at the end. That's not the case right now with Jay Herbo and Jim Harbaugh and company. Losing Najee Harris, obviously a blow for the Chargers in that game. Omarion Hampton, next man up mentality, 19 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. Look, it was a great touchdown pass, a great play from Justin Herbert, scrambling out of the pocket, throwing around Benito's arm, and finding Keenan Allen, the vet, for the touchdown. Great play. Tip your cap to that. Right? But you know the other thing when it comes to the Broncos defense that has me a bit concerned? Look at these numbers, folks. This is from our guy, Andrew Mason. Follow him at Mace Denver if you don't already, and check out his work, DenverSports.com. At this moment, the Broncos are 19th in total defense, 18th in pass defense. That is with the reigning defending Defensive Player of the Year, cornerback Pat Surtain, and the 21st rated run defense. And this is a defensive line that features Nick Bonito, who's fat and happy, for lack of a better phrase, after getting the contract extension. Zach Allen got himself a bag this offseason. Jonathan Franklin Myers a dog, right? So there's not and it's not just on the pass rusher, but point being, you got some dogs up front, man. You got some guys that should be able to stuff the run. And Bonito, look, I saw our guy, Zach Pye tweeting this or that about Nick Bonito. Everything's as advertised with Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito could very well be at the end of the season a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. Great player and a great guy as well. But the thing that I'm now questioning is I kind of sit back here and analyze this Broncos defense. And look, we know that they kind of, tapered off a little bit last year under Vance Joseph's command after a great start. What was the biggest question on defense this offseason for the Denver Broncos? I had that conversation time and time and time and time and time again in this chair or in the chair opposite of me when I was filling in on the station. And unanimously, for the most part, I can't think of anything else that came up in the minds of anybody else or the mouths of anybody else, was linebacker. Right? You had Alex Singleton coming off the brutal ACL injury, another year older on top of the recovery from the injury. And then you go out there and sign Dre Greenlaw. And Dre Greenlaw, when healthy, is a dynamic linebacker, one of the best linebackers in the NFL, an absolute impact player in a perfect world. Alex Singleton, Dre Greenlaw, 1 and 2, linebacker. You feel pretty good about that. But again, there were some question marks. Is Singleton going to be the same guy? Is Greenlaw going to be able to be healthy enough? And so far, the Broncos are 0 for 2. And the lack of depth. And if I'm the Broncos, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but I feel like you almost need to over-address the linebacking position. Because on paper, yes, a healthy Singleton should be good. A healthy Dre Greenlaw should be absolutely dynamic. But that's an if, not a guarantee. And that's for everybody else, right? Talanoa Hufanga's been great. Probably the best player defensively for the Broncos so far this season outside of Bonito. Probably an argument to have there as well. But point being, you went into this season, if you're the Denver Broncos, knowing that you had 2 iffy kind of question marks at the linebacking position, which is honestly the bread that brings the sandwich together. Right? Like the pass rushers, you have Nick Bonito, you have Zach Allen, they can only do so much. You have Pat Surtain, so a little bit of questions on the other side of the cornerback room with Riley Moss, Jahdae Barron, among some others, right? But if you have a rock-solid middle linebacking core to pair with those pass rushers, to pair with the reigning defending Defensive Player of the Year in Pat Surtain, you feel pretty good about sewing it up. And it feels like the Broncos, not exactly slapping a Band-Aid on an open wound, but one of those big boy Band-Aids, right? Like those huge Band-Aids that cover a ton of surface area on the skin. They felt pretty good that, hey, this Band-Aid's going to hold up. We're going to go swimming. We're going to do this and that. Band-Aid's going to be okay, right? But here we are now 3 games in. Dre Greenlaw on short-term IR. Alex Singleton, question marks about, what's going to happen with him moving forward in regards to his level of play on a game or on a play-by-play basis. And now you're sitting back here and saying, the linebacking room is a real problem for this Denver Broncos team. And look, they're good enough up front. And they should be good enough in the secondary. But this is a weakness that you could have and should have identified in the offseason that only 3 weeks into the year is coming back to bite you in the rear end. That's the reality of the situation, folks. So where do we go from here? Well, the Denver Broncos got themselves a pretty important game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, it was funny. I posted it on social media when Joe Burrow was announced with a turf toe that he'd be out 3 months. And, there was people in the comment section talking about how we don't need excuses, this, that, the other. We're good enough to beat this team. Really? Like I said, hindsight's always 20/20. But you got to feel pretty good about the Broncos' chances now with Joe Burrow. How would you feel about the Broncos' chances in that game if Joe Burrow was playing? Imagine going into Monday Night Football. 2 consecutive brutal losses, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losses. And now you got to worry about stopping Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson with a quarterback that looks a little spooked right now. So this is a gift from the football gods. And obviously we all wish that Joe Burrow has a speedy recovery. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in this league, one of my favorite athletes to watch, period. But now the Broncos get themselves an opportunity to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. And I say all of that to say this, because you're probably sitting here like, oh my gosh, negative Nancy. I have the Broncos at 10-7. That was my prediction before the season, 10-7 for the Denver Broncos. And to use I had the Broncos losing this game against the Chargers, and I think what makes it so much more painful for Broncos country is the fact that you had a 17-point unanswered run in that game and you still lost the game, on top of it being 2 consecutive walk-off field goals. But now to use a Aaron Rodgers-ism, RELAX, relax. I don't think anything I've seen from this Denver Broncos team, despite the 2 terrible losses, does not have me worried about the overall outlook of this Denver Broncos team. I think it's just going to take a while for it to come together. I feel good about the defense big picture-wise. I feel good about the offense big picture-wise. Look, Bo was not great, hasn't been great all season, but I still trust in Sean Payton to get that thing figured out. I really do. I trust Cortland Sutton to be that true number 1 receiver that they have. I'm looking for more RJ Harvey. I'm looking for more Pat Bryant. I'm looking for, maybe a spice up in the play calling, not in regards to who's calling the plays, but just getting a little bit more creative. And also, again, to take a step back for just a moment, the reality situation is Bo Nix hits 2 of those 3 deep balls. Broncos probably win that game by double digits. That's probably where we're at. So relax, take a step back. I'm not on this, anti-Bo Nix train. I think he's going to be okay. I think Sean Payton's going to be okay. But it's a bleak and ugly and frustrating start to a season in which Sean Payton himself talked about what could be a special year, talking about how we can't be afraid to talk about the Super Bowl, how we can't be afraid to have a championship mentality. I mean, Sean Payton, putting the pressure on Bo Nix this offseason as well. Here's his quote. Check out the story from DenverSports.com from August the 4th. And this is, let me see if I could get the reporter's name here. I'm not seeing it off the top of my head, but here's Sean Payton talking about Bo Nix and anointing him as a potential top 5 quarterback in this league. Quote, he's going to be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league the next 2 years. That's what we're seeing right now. He doesn't take sacks. He's got an exceptional arm strength. He threw the longest ball, 67 air yards against Cincinnati. He can run. He can throw in funny body angles. And then Payton continues in regards to expectations for his team this year. The short-term goal is winning the division. But this is a team that is capable of winning the Super Bowl. I've coached 6 teams that I thought could win the Super Bowl. Some went to championship games, some went to the playoffs. This is my 7th team I think has that. Now, look, I think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. I still believe that. And they're not mutually exclusive to rough starts to the season with high expectations. You watch Monday Night Football last night with the Ravens? You see the Chiefs at 1-2? You see the Texans at 0-3? But the pressure and the expectations in the Super Bowl and Bo Nix taking a leap, that is self-induced from Sean Payton himself, who has a 19-19 record as the head coach of the Denver Broncos as currently constructed. It is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. Did I miss anything, Dante? I think we covered it all there.
I think you got it all. Yeah, I think you got it all.
Nuts and bolts, right? I mean, I'm still okay with the Denver Broncos.
The secondary a little bit.
I think that'll correct itself. Like, I'm not off Vance Joseph and whatnot, but like, point being, like, I think the Broncos are still in a good spot. It's just 2 frustrating losses that they have to learn from. That's where I'm at. So, again, let me know your thoughts on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. It is Denver Sports Tonight. I am your host, Danilo Piro, riding solo tonight. You can follow me on social media at Media by AP. All right, when we come back, let's continue along with the conversation, talking some football, but about the team that wears black and gold. The Colorado Buffaloes get themselves back on track with a big win against Wyoming. Some thoughts about that game, big picture outlook for the Buffs, and I asked Deion Sanders a question that I thought he gave a good answer to. That's next.
Have the Broncos already revealed a troubling trend in the first month of the season?
Get the Broncos in a close game and they'll beat themselves. Broncos will Bronco eventually.
They haven't been able to close out games, and that's what good teams do. Good teams find ways to win both of those games, and then you're sitting at 3-0. It's frustrating because you look up and you look at where you could have been, and now what do you have in front of you?
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Brandon Stokel here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Do you need a new furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump? ROX Rocks Heating and Air makes it incredibly easy with their new, free, no obligation online heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Done right kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Our 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about. Make a great time to call 800-362-8370 or drhi.com.
Attention golf lovers, the city of Aurora has you covered this fall. Home to 5 beautiful courses, there's no better place to play than Aurora. What's up guys, it's Zach here. I enjoy leaf peeping every fall, but instead of heading to the mountains, I'm heading to my local Aurora golf courses. Saddle Rock, Aurora Hills, Spring Hill, Meadow Hills, and Murphy Creek have stunning Rocky Mountain views with the fall colors we adore. For more information and to book a tee time, visit golfaurora.com and give them a follow on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Golf Aurora CO.
Injured in an accident? Call Postman Law. Our attorneys have recovered over $3 billion for clients, fighting and winning nationwide. Others promise, Postman delivers. Call 844-POSTMAN now for your free consultation. That's 844-POSTMAN.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Samuel Adams at Mile High Station on Monday, September 29th from 4 to 6:15 p.m. for the Fan Football pregame show. Get your head in the game with orange and blue face painting and ice cold Oktoberfest. See you there.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity, and the other day I'm over at a friend's place. He's pumped to watch football, but his setup, Total mess. Lagging, buffering, switching between apps, trying to find a game. He claimed to be a big fan, but I feel like I was being fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a football fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way I watch, well, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear it feels like I'm in the stadium. Sometimes I've got 4 games going on at once. Why? Because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications, live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K cable TV box.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Roll along here on The Fan. Anila Piro, right here on Denver Sports Tonight. Hope everyone is doing well out there. If you're driving home, get home safe. If you're already home, bundle up. And I personally like rainy nights. And it's rare that we get like 24 hours of continuous downpour here in Denver. So good for the earth and good for your sleeping schedule as well. I don't know. The rain always puts me to bed. But you can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Check us out, DenverSports.com, on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, subscribe as well. And we got our guy Dante Gomez behind the glass. All right, good little monologue there on the Denver Broncos. You guys can react to that on the RonaldSaw.com text line, 303-713-1043, if you'd like to get involved. But why don't we shift gears here a little bit, as the Colorado Buffaloes had themselves a much-needed victory over the weekend, Saturday night, nearly into Sunday morning. They were essentially 2-touchdown favorites, and the Colorado Buffaloes managed to take care of business against the Wyoming Cowboys. Your final score in that one, 37-20. Buffs now at 2-2. Wyoming at 2-2 as well. And, we heard the speculation, we heard the conversation entering into this game that after a bit of musical chairs at the quarterback position for the Colorado Buffaloes, that they indeed were going to go back to their original starter, the intended plan, by having Payton Salter be QB1. And he did just that. 18 for 28, 304 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. 93.8 is his total QBR in that game. I thought this was easily, and look, you can make the case with Delaware just because of the margin of victory, but I thought this was the best game that the Colorado Buffaloes played all season. And defensively, they tapered off there a little bit at the end, but then locked in. But most importantly, because of what we saw from the offense. Payton Salter, I gave you the passing stats, but we finally saw that dual threat nature that we were all told and sold about in this game against Wyoming. He was the Buffs' leading rusher in this game. 11 carries for 86 yards, ran in a touchdown as well, a long rush of 35 yards. But offensively, for me, the biggest eyebrow raise was the fact that the Buffs actually took some shots down the field. Even last year with Travis and Shador and LeJante and all these wide receivers, they were never a, grind him out type of offense. The Colorado Buffaloes are always at their best, or have been, at least under Coach Prime, when they're taking big shots down the field and converting. And you saw that. You saw Payton Salter throw the BB to Omarion Miller. That was an absolute laser. Sincere Brown is quick as lightning. Feed him. 1 reception for 68 yards, but he took it to the crib for a touchdown. Joseph Williams, 1 reception for 47 yards and a touchdown. So what's the commonality here? Big plays mean big things for the Colorado Buffaloes. And I asked Coach Prime after the game if he felt like now 3 games in, Pat Shurmur alluded to it after the Delaware game, that a lack of a preseason, maybe stall some offenses out of the gate. So I asked Coach Prime, now 3 games in, I reiterated the Pat Shurmur question, do you feel like it's all coming together? Interesting answer from Coach Prime. Listen to this.
No. Guys just got to do their darn jobs. That's it. It was no new plays called. Not whatsoever. Guys just got to do their jobs. All across the board, offense, defensively, special teams, coaches, we got to put the guys in the right situations to have success. So, no, man, I ain't a blamer. Like, come on, everybody got to accountability. You got to do your job. I got to do my job. I got to do better. So I had to go and retool the practice schedule, make sure we getting the most out of practice. I had to go over. Okay, let's work on 1st and 10s, offensively and defensively. Let's work on 2nd and 8s. Let's work on 3rd and 1s. Let's work on 3rd and an inch. And it's so darn funny that we did we get the 4th down? It was 3rd and 1 or something. We did the tush push or whatever you call it. Yeah, but we've been practicing that all week. All week. We've been practicing that all week because we knew that situation would occur. So we tried best to prepare ourselves for situational football, and that's something that I had to just, check myself. Like, make sure this team is prepared in every aspect of it. I apologize that I think I brought 3 timeouts in with me. Ain't nobody saying about that this week. I apologize. I'll try not to do that next time. All right? God bless you all. Be safe.
Classic Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Anybody talk about that this week? Love that little remark there. But I walk into the studio Monday morning, and our great executive producer, Drew Spivak, turns to me and says, Anilo, you feel any different about the Colorado Buffaloes? My answer was no. I don't think the win against Wyoming moved the needle for me. Now, I like what I saw from the offense. Let's see him do it again this week against a 3-0 BYU team. So Dante Gomez, I'll ask you the same question. Did the win against Wyoming do anything for you in regards to the outlook for CU this season?
Within the last week, yes. After that Houston game, I was starting to think Colorado might only have 2 wins on the schedule all season. So I'm back to they're going to be more middling, more competent. I don't think they're going to be great. I think now I see 4 to 6 wins probably. So they're not going to be, anything special, but I am back to thinking they are competent and they are somewhat building something that maybe next year is a run at the Big 12. Again, don't mistake that for this season. There's no chance they're competing for the Big 12 this year, but it's not all, going to crap, at least up in Boulder.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair take. I had the Buffs between 6 and 7 wins before the season, right? And I still think they can win 6 or 7 games just because of what the Big 12 is this year. Obviously, Texas Tech looks really legit. TCU, big win over the weekend as well. But you see what's happening with Oklahoma State and whatnot and some of these other teams. And the Big 12 maybe isn't quite as strong as we thought it might be. But I thought the chunk plays, that was the Colorado offense that I was expecting to see. And also the dual threat nature of Caden Salter. I don't know what it was through those first couple of games. Obviously, Ryan Staub starting the 3rd game against Houston. I don't know if Caden Salter is trying to show out for scouts, if he wants to play in the NFL. Look, I can throw the ball. I'm not just a runner. But Caden Salter is at his best when he's using his legs. And I think you saw that tandem pay off and open up the big shots down the field.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying on Friday when me and Mike were hosting. We talked about the Buffs a little bit. And I was saying we need to see Salter run the ball. He's not there to be a pocket passer. He's not there to pick you apart from the pocket. He needs to, add that dual threat part of his game. And that second threat is running the ball. And to your point about, taking shots down the field, the Buffs had 6 guys that had a longest reception of 10-plus yards. They had 3 guys with the longest reception of 29 yards or longer. So we saw way more shots. We saw them be more aggressive. We saw Salter be more aggressive in leaving the pocket and run when he needed to. So, yeah, everything you're saying, I think, spot on, and the numbers back it up.
And I think we were just waiting for it. People want to get on Sean Payton with the play calling. Let's get on Pat Shermer with the play calling. I mean, how many times are you going to run mesh, and how many times are you going to run the bubble screen over and over and over and over again for a gain of 1.5 yards?
Well, I'm going to blame Salter a little bit for not running the ball.
That's fair.
I think there was opportunities for him to run the ball in week 1 against Georgia Tech that he didn't take advantage of. So I'm going to blame Salter a little bit on some of those broken plays where he could have got, 4 yards, 10 yards here and there. But those are important yards that can extend drives, and that we weren't seeing that against Georgia Tech. I think if Salter played the way he did against Wyoming, against Georgia Tech, I think CU had a dang good chance of winning that game.
And that's what we were sold, right? That's the bill that we were sold coming into this season, is you're going to have a guy, this is the only way that I can think of phrasing this, but what I saw from Caden Salter in that game against Wyoming is a poor man Shedeur Sanders. A guy that can make it happen, can improv a little bit, can go off script with more ability to run, but also hit that deep ball. So I think that's something that's boding well for this Buffalo's team. And the other thing that I was banging my head against the wall with this CU team is it's not like it's all new cats at wide receiver. I was at that game, I believe it was the USC game, when Omarion Miller popped off 2 years ago. It was one of those early season games. And I remember standing on the sideline, and I'm like, there's this guy with his arm around Omarion Miller. I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game. It's Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin's sitting there, this guy could play, this guy's the truth, right? And it's like, why aren't you getting Omarion Miller more involved in the game earlier? Draylon Miller, a known commodity as well. Sincere Brown, one of the new guys. But the point is, it's not a question of talent with the Colorado Buffaloes.
Well, especially talent at skill positions.
Exactly.
I think elsewhere you could argue there could be some talent issues, but skill positions, they got that covered. Deion's been able to recruit skill positions since he was back at Jackson State. Sorry, continue.
No, 100%. And I think that's the thing moving forward is it finally looked like against Wyoming. Let's put the asterisk there. This isn't against TCU. This isn't against Baylor, some of these other Big 12 teams. But we finally saw last weekend, for the first time, the Colorado Buffaloes resemble the team that I think we expected them to be coming into this season. So I think that's reason for optimism. But you're a college football guru. Talk to me about BYU. They're touchdown underdogs at home, another 8.5 or 8:15 kickoff, which is crazy. But I'll be there, of course. Media by AP if you want to follow along. But give me a little profile on BYU.
So BYU, they haven't really played anybody. So they're a little bit of an unknown freshman quarterback. He's been able to, get his feet under him so far under those first 3 games, but they beat Portland State pretty bad. Portland State stinks. They beat Stanford pretty bad. Stanford's not good. They beat East Carolina. East Carolina's not great, not terrible. They're probably somewhere in the middle there. So they haven't really played anyone, of note. So I think this will be their biggest game to this point. I expect it to be kind of one of those weird, fulsome games at night, that late kick too, where you get some weird stuff going on up there in Boulder. So they're untested, but traditionally a really well-coached team, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be big up front, good offensive line. Defensively, they're going to be sound as well. Maybe not any game breakers, but they're going to be solid and they're going to be tough to beat. With all that being said, I do give CU a decent chance to go up there. If they play their A game and BYU brings their B- game, CU can win that ball game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is the litmus test for this Colorado Buffaloes team. I think even if they lose close, you feel good about what this team can be, just because I personally have a lot of respect for BYU, but you mentioned they haven't played anybody yet. But I agree. I think this is a game that Colorado's live in, and if the Buffs are able to come out and win this game, that's going to bode well in building momentum for them moving forward this season. So a couple of quick notes real quick on CU. They got a big commitment today. Four-star defensive lineman Emmanuel Ruffin has committed to Colorado. 6'4", 290 pounds from Alabama, chose CU over Ohio State, Missouri, and Ole Miss. So the defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes and 2 SEC teams. Mr. Ruffin has committed to the Colorado Buffaloes. And I also just want to say, what a run from Ralphie. What a couple of runs from Ralphie over the weekend. I was energized. I was talking to the handlers down on the sideline before the game. How's she looking? They said she looked great, and she was as advertised. One of the best and coolest traditions in all of college sports. What are your thoughts on the Colorado Buffaloes? Let me know your thoughts on that. RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. All right, that's a fast way to kill an hour. When we come back, put a bow on the show, some closing thoughts on football, maybe a little nuggets, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Sports potpourri right here on Denver Sports Tonight.
Does Bo Nix shoulder the most blame for the loss to the Chargers?
Am I pinning it all on Bo? No, but you can't have it both ways. You can't, as a football fan or as a football media, talk endlessly about the importance of the quarterback, and then after a game like this say, well, what do you mean? It wasn't really Bo's fault. Can't have it both ways.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
They say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but not true, I say. Hey, everybody, Dan Jacobs with Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040, and I'm here to tell you about the best, absolute best free meal in all of Denver. Times are tight right now. You go to the grocery store, things are insane, so we all could use a little bit of help. No questions asked. Anybody that needs it can come by every first and third Thursday. Here's how it works. You pull up, you pop your trunk, they put free groceries for the week in your trunk, and they say, how many hot meals do you need? We pass those to you right through your window, and this is good stuff. This is not soup kitchen stuff. I smoke these meats personally. Delicious pulled pork. I got my special secret Chipotle chicken recipe. It is fantastic. Please help us spread the word. Anybody that needs it, Smoky Hill and Arapahoe Road every first and third Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. It's Dan Jacobs at 303 Law 4040.
Thinking about buying a home in Colorado? You're not the only one, and now might be your best shot. We're officially in a buyer's market, which means you've got the upper hand. More homes are on the market, competition is down, and serious deals are out there just just waiting to be found. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to upgrade or downsize, now's the time to get pre-approved. And American Financing can make that happen in 24 hours or less. And here's the kicker. When you work with both American Financing and their partner American Home Agents, you can receive a credit on closing costs of up to 1% or a max of $10,000 on your home loan. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, it's time to step in, and American Financing is the place to start. Don't let the 20% down myth stop you. You could buy a home with as little as 3% down, and with down payment assistance programs available, getting into a home might be easier than you think. Pick up the phone, call them at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This is Jeff for Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg. I've been a patient of Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic for over 10 years. I noticed that I was really tired. I was lethargic. I didn't sleep really well, and I was overweight. My waist was 4 inches over what it should have been. It was really difficult for me to lose the body shape I didn't like. And of course, my marriage, yes. No man in their 40s wants to have low libido in their marriage. I'm really thankful for this therapy because it just makes me feel the man I want to be, active, at home, everywhere. If you're feeling like I was, call the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic today and get checked. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Thanks, Greg. It's true. Low T therapy will likely change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Huge savings on Dell AI PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors are here, and they're newly designed to help you do more faster. They can generate code, edit images, multitask without lag, draft emails, summarize documents, create live translations, and even extend your battery life. That's the power of Dell AI with Intel inside. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here. Fall has arrived, which makes now the perfect time to call your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks, at 303-425-0985. Ductworks' complete ventilation cleaning packages scrapes and vacuums every inch of your system, removing dirt, dust, and debris other companies leave behind. Here's why that matters. Your heating system kicks on in the fall. Dirty ducts can reduce efficiency, raise your energy bills, push dust into your home's air. A professional cleaning now helps your furnace run better, last longer, and keep your family breathing cleaner air. Don't wait until the first cold snap when everyone else is scrambling. Get ahead of the rush. Call Ductworks today at 303-425-0985 or visit ductworks.com for your free residential and commercial estimate. Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
303-425-0985.
Joel Klatt, the nation's leading voice in college football, joins Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth every Wednesday morning. Presented by Groove Toyota. Here we go. Tune in at 8:10 for exclusive insight, bold analysis, and maybe just a hint of shenanigans. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Nice to see my Mets imploding. Always nice to see that. Familiar territory, unfortunately. Welcome on back into the program. Anilo Piro, Denver Sports Tonight. You can follow me on Soch at Media by AP. Also check us out on YouTube and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss any of the content from the channel. Orange and Blue today with Cecil and Mace. You got Mile High Hoops with my guy Jake Shapiro. Will Peterson's got you on lock with Mile High Hockey. And tons of other content. So if you want to keep the conversation going, head over to the Denver Sports YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Oh, it's 6-1. 6-1. So look at that in real time. Another implosion from the baseball team. Real quick on the Rockies, man. I was talking with somebody about this at the gym earlier today. It is so depressing that they're the worst team. They're going to be the worst team potentially in National League Baseball history. But like I was covering that team as a beat reporter day in and day out during those two playoff seasons, 2017 and 2018. Denver very well could be a baseball town. They desire a competitive baseball team. And I'm not saying, they've never won the division, so let's hit that mark first. And I'm saying, go out there and contend for a World Series every year. There's levels to this stuff. But can you be competitive? Can you play 500 ball? Can you give us something to be happy about? So I was just talking with somebody about that earlier today, and baseball. I try to talk all the sports. I was at Avs Media Day last week. That was a blast. I'm excited for the Avalanche. Marty Necas kind of debunking the "I don't want to be here" rumors from social media. Gabriel Landeskog back. McKinnon's McKinnon, right? So I'm excited for all the sports and whatnot. But the Rockies are just so darn sad.
Real quick on your Rockies here, too. I don't know if you saw this, but the AL, MLB season's wrapping up here. We got 6 games left for every team, so it'll end Sunday. The AL, with 1 week left to play, has one team that's clinched a playoff spot.
That's what it's all about,
It
baby.
is so up in the air, and the fact that the Rockies can't even be in the mix. Obviously, it's the AL, and we're talking about the NL with the Rockies here, but the fact that the NL, the Rockies can't even be in the mix a little bit. No team's probably going to win 100 games this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have those 120-win Dodgers teams or 110-win Dodgers teams here. Everything's fairly attainable.
Yeah.
And the Rockies are still just so far out of the mix.
Cellar dwellers. That is the Colorado Rockies. Here's one more note on the Rockies from a news perspective. They have a golden opportunity to, sneak under the radar when it comes to news dumps with a firing or two, whether it potentially could be Bill Schmidt. Are they going to run it back with him? Warren Schaefer, the interim manager, right? Because their season ends, as Dante alluded to, on Sunday. The Broncos, of course, playing on Monday Night Football. You've also got Denver Nuggets Media Day on Monday. So it's a big, big day in the world of Denver sports. The timeline is going to be flooded with Broncos and Nuggets tweets. So if the Rockies were going to make a move or two, it would probably come on Monday if I had to imagine. So DenverSports.com, Denver Sports social media will have you covered with everything as it pertains to the Colorado Rockies. So talking Broncos, talking Buffs, I think the Buffs, I'm very, very interested to see what this weekend against BYU is going to look like. I think if they can go out there and win this game, it just gives them a lot of momentum, which could change the trajectory of their season. Despite, take the Wyoming game out of it, it was a pretty bleak outlook, so let's see if they can build on that. And the Broncos, I'm fully expecting them to come out and get a big win against the Cincinnati Bengals to get back on track at 2-2. So we'll see what happens with both of those teams. And, of course, DenverSports.com will keep you covered. But to put a bow on it, I want to talk a little Denver Nuggets basketball. And, they've kind of been out of the minds and whatnot of the sports fan here locally just because it is the NBA offseason. But as I alluded to, here we go. Monday, buckle up. Nuggets Media Day, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously a new-look Nuggets team. No more Michael Malone, and I saw he had some thoughts on wanting to coach in the NBA again and feeling like he got a raw deal getting fired from the Nuggets. I thought he got a raw deal personally because he was begging for the roster that the Nuggets now currently have. I'm a Michael Malone guy, so I do think he got a little bit of a raw deal. But, I've talked about this with our guy Jake Shapiro time and time again. This is a absolutely positively no ifs, ands, or buts about it, championship or bust season. And I don't think that's being too hard. The Nuggets should be treated the same way that the Broncos are treated in this town. Right? Like the Broncos are the one team that people get on and get frustrated with. Like with the Nuggets, it's like, they're like this cute little teddy bear. Like you don't want to poke the bear. Like you don't want to, mess up the teddy bear and mess up its, its fluff and whatnot. Like the Nuggets should be held to a championship standard this year. I thought they had a tremendous offseason. Obviously, adios MPJ. Welcome aboard Cam Johnson. Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the world. Jamal Murray looks to be in shape. And something that's interesting that just developed, I believe this news came out yesterday, that actually bodes well for the Nuggets. Unfortunately, it's an injury. Fred VanVleet, the guard for the Houston Rockets, remember, Houston's got Kevin Durant now, tore his ACL in the offseason and is going to be out for the entirety of this upcoming year. So Houston, you look at Oklahoma City, obviously, Minnesota, among some others. These are teams along with the Nuggets that are expected to contend for the number one or at least the number one seed or be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And now Houston without Fred VanVleet, that's going to be a bit tough. It's a big injury nonetheless, Dante.
Oh, yeah. The Rockets, they needed Fred VanVleet already. So here, I have a little fun stat for you here. The Rockets last year, very good team, right? They were second seed in the West. They were third to last in team assists last year. You lose your point guard in Fred VanVleet.
Yep.
That doesn't help that. You add Kevin Durant, which doesn't help assist numbers either because he's such an ISO player. He's incredible at what he does. He's, one of the best scorers I've ever seen, probably the best scorer I've ever seen, but he doesn't necessarily help assist numbers at all. So I expect him to be struggling, and you can only play ISO ball for so long without your orchestrator out there with a team that already struggles to have assists and move that ball. I think they could be in for a rude awakening if they don't find somebody else to be able to take that load on as far as moving the ball and orchestrating that offense.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one thing if Fred VanVleet gets hurt at the end of the playoffs, right? You can at least go into the offseason eyes wide open and know what you have to address. But here we are, Nuggets Media Day. A lot of the media days for NBA teams starting next week, and you just find out that Fred VanVleet tears his ACL, is going to be out for the year. So, all right, that is going to do it for me tonight, folks. At Media by AP on social if you want to continue along with the conversation. Dante, great job. Talk all sports when I'm on the air. Stay warm, stay safe. Denver Sports Tonight.
The Broncos couldn't finish off the Chargers and missed a golden opportunity to gain ground in the AFC West. With an uphill battle ahead of them, can Denver get back